Hey there, my name is Shane Craddock, and this is the Inner Edge podcast, where I share a different take on how to lead and live a sustainable high-performance life. Over the course of different episodes, I'm going to challenge the belief that tension, stress, and struggle are essential to success and creativity. My experience is that there's an easier way, there's a better way, and indeed there's an essential way that we need to explore for the times that we live in. So let's go ahead, let's jump in and explore. Hi there. Today we're going to talk about boredom, and hopefully in the process I won't bore you. But let's see. So we're talking about the wisdom of boredom and maybe why embracing it can actually accelerate things for you. So let me just ask you this. When was the last time you actually allowed yourself to be bored? And not scrolling, not watching the latest Netflix series, not multitasking, just being still, just in a way, allowing yourself to be bored. I think it's funny how in this hyperactive, hyperproductive, ultra stimulated world, boredom in a way has become an enemy. And I've caught myself at times, my mind not wanting to be bored. It's never been easier not to be bored. But what if we're missing something really important? Because we rush to fill every single moment with content, with noise, with distraction. And I do think we do it unconsciously, but I think we pay a price. I suppose what I'm saying is, what if boredom isn't the enemy? What if it's actually your mind's way of whispering gently to you, slow down, something new wants to come through to you? As I was just getting ready to click on for this podcast, a quote came to mind. I think it was by a gentleman called Theodore Roethke. It says, "A mind too busy is no mind at all." And I think we are in an era where not only it just seems everything's getting faster and faster, but people's minds definitely getting faster and faster. It's overwhelming, I think, for people at times. But I think looking at boredom and allowing yourself to be boredom will often show you something. And I guess what I'm saying, from what I see, that boredom isn't a problem. It's not a bug in the system. It's actually a feature, a useful feature. And if you use it well, it can become the doorway to clarity, to insight, and to creativity. And I suppose I'm recording this to challenge my own relationship with boredom and yours, and suggest that it might hold genuinely the key to your next breakthrough, your next big idea, and the clarity perhaps that you're looking for. Now, most of my clients that I work with are achieving type people. They're high achievers, ambitious people. And I think if they're honest, they'll often treat boredom like a red flag. They can see it perhaps as laziness or a lack of drive, or even a sign that they're off track, that it's not the right way for them to be. But what if that itch that we feel in boredom, the slight irritation, isn't a problem to solve, but a threshold to cross? Because I think what's really happening is your mind has run out of stimulation. So you're starting to feel bored, your mind has run out of stimulation. You're not in a state of panic or pressure. And actually what's happening is that boredom, in a way, is a signal that there's space coming inside in your mind. You're on the edge now of having a bit of space. But most people instantly fill that space. But that space is really where the mind resets, where insight can kind of leak in quietly, gently when the noise clears, and then something deeper from your own intelligence, your own wisdom starts to speak to you. Something that a mentor said to me many years ago, I think is quite profound. It took me a while to kind of get my head around it, so maybe you'll be the same. He said this, boredom is the sound of a busy mind. I think that's quite profound. And it is a bit of a mind bender, but think about it. We often say we're bored. What we're experiencing is the discomfort of being alone with our own thoughts, our own busy mind. It's not the absence of stimulation. It's the presence really of inner noise that causes the issue. That our mind, our inner voice starts chattering. Shouldn't you be doing something? This is a waste of time. You're being unproductive, or I'm bored. Really, if you dig deeper, I don't think it's boredom. It's really a mental storm or agitation dressed up as boredom. It's the inner voice causing agitation. And the reason boredom feels so unbearable, I think, at times, is because, in a way, it reveals just how noisy things really are for us on the inside, and how we've almost formed a habit of just being busy inside and noisy and allowing ourselves, we want to be active, mentally engaged all the time. Now, it's happened too many times over my career and even for myself, particularly with clients, though, where clients that come on retreats, they usually be flat out running a team, growing a business, raising a family. And often, sometimes they'll even reject meditation because it's too boring. But really what they're showing is that they're agitated inside, that they don't really do just settling. I've said before that great metaphor for your mind is that your mind is like a snow globe. I talk about this in my book, The Inner CEO. Snow globe. It works best when it's calm, clear, and settled. And I'm thinking of one guy right now who came on my annual retreat called Thrive, where he was exactly like that. The busy person didn't really want to do anything to do with meditation, found it difficult to slow down, found it difficult to be off email, off text messages. But on the second day, because he'd embraced it, let's just go for it, he said he was finding it tough. But the second day, something clicked. And we were hiking somewhere, and, after a little bit, he had said to me, I just got the answer to something that I've been stuck on for many, many months. And here's the funny thing, he said, I wasn't even thinking about it. And that's exactly the point. And I've talked about this maybe in different ways, at different angles on this podcast, and even on articles that I've written recently on Substack. But the solution doesn't usually come through effort, mental effort. It can often come through boredom or allowing your mind to rest in the moment. And yet it's so easy to do the opposite because the whole world is kind of trying to make us do the opposite. But for that kind of a breakthrough, boredom creates a gap. And then the insight, if you let it, will kind of often rush in to fill it. Now, there is a scientific side to this too. I think in recent years, neuroscientists have basically, I suppose, identified a system or part of our brain that they're calling the DMN, the default mode network. And they've identified this part of our brain that switches on when we're not focused on external tasks, where we allow ourselves to rest and even be bored. And the DMN, the default mode network, is very strongly linked now, they're finding, to enhance creativity, better long-term planning, improve self-reflection, and better ability to solve problems. And, I'll often say that science often only uncovers what already exists. So I think if you think about this as a person, you don't even need to be told that from neuroscientists, because you know yourself that some of your best ideas come when you're in the shower, or you're on a walk, or you're just before sleep, or your mind just kind of gone into that kind of gentle, more restful mode that is on the other side, actually, of boredom. But if you never let your brain go into that mode, if you're always stimulated, if you're always on, always busy, noisy, you never give yourself a chance to access it. So in actual fact, I think you're shutting off a superpower. And I've done this too many times myself. So here's something that I recommend to experiment with. It's going to sound very attractive now when I say this, not, right? But the 20-minute boredom reset, we probably come up with a better marketing name, Shane, than that. But anyway, here we go. The 20-minute boredom reset. Turn off all inputs. Turn off your phone for 20 minutes, laptop, podcasts, music, Twitter, X, whatever you want to, whatever, everything. No agenda, no even journaling. You're just going to sit or lie down, maybe just walk, and kind of just embrace when your mind kicks in and goes, I'm kind of bored. That's the inner voice now. That's not you. You're the one who watches and observes the inner voice, but embrace it just for 20 minutes. It's not going to kill you. Let your mind wander. Don't force anything. Just be with the feeling of boredom. If you feel fidgety, great. Stay with it. This is the test. Boredom will eventually arrive, probably pretty quickly for most. But if you stay with it and feel it and push through it gently, so will clarity. So some questions for you. And by the way, sorry, I should say as well, just in case you're new to the podcast, if you like the audio format that I'm doing here, I have created for this year a thing called the Audio Club. And it's a long form audio 45 to maybe 60 minutes of knowledge where I go deep dive, longer than the podcast usually. And it's getting good feedback, different topics. If you're somebody who's interested in better results, better performance, and a better life, you really enjoy it. So check it out. I'll put the link in the show notes. So back to you. What about you? When was the last time you actually allowed yourself to be truly bored without reaching for your phone or without just going on to what's next to be done or any sort of distraction? I think if we're all honest, like there's almost an epidemic of this at the moment. Like we're in a distracted society. It's just go, go, go all the time, even apparently when we're sitting down. And so think about this as well. What might your mind be trying to tell you through the sense of potential boredom or restlessness? And then a final question is, what is one simple way that you could build in some, let's call it, again, attractive word, boredom space into your day, even if it's just for 10, 15 minutes, to allow deeper clarity or those kind of breakthrough insights or ideas to emerge? I think if you experiment with this even over the next week to 2 weeks, you'd find it quite interesting. I think it will give you the reward that maybe you don't expect. And so to close out, what I'm going to say is boredom isn't dead space. It's actually a bridge to the wisdom that actually is inside us all, that creative wisdom, the creative intelligence. And if we can even just challenge ourselves to start with a pocket of boredom space today, like where we have no noise, no task, no input, just being present with our inner voice, even when it kicks off and goes, I'm bored. I don't want to do this. If you can kind of sit with it and push through it, I think you'll see something quite interesting and rewarding. I know that I do. And any of my clients who listen to me, who are stupid enough to listen to me, will also agree. Because oftentimes the fastest way forward, keeping busy, is not the way to, it's not the way it's going to work. The actual fastest way forward is to slow down long enough to let your mind, in a way, catch up with where you're at and give you those ideas. That's it for this week. Ciao for now.